Hello, and welcome to the Jocelyn Moore Show. I'm your host, Jocelyn Moore, and as always, we're here to inform, inspire, and entertain with dynamic conversations that matter. Today, we will explore the entertainment world and the unique connection between military service and the field of acting, focusing on veterans who have transitioned into this career. Join us for a personal and insightful conversation with Rick K. Branch, a Navy veteran, versatile actor, and producer with an impressive, diverse portfolio, who will discuss the connection between those two worlds today. You might have seen him in popular shows like Wonder Woman, The Walking Dead, For My Man, The Daily Show, or the film Creed, and more. While he might not be a household name yet, his range and experience speaks for themselves.
In the process of me looking for a job, I always pass that recruiter sign, and I passed it several times. Said, "I am not joining the military. I am not joining the military." So one day I said, let me just go in there and just see what he got to say. I went in there and talked to the MEPS guy just to see what is it all about. And he gave me some good, I mean, that was like some good stuff I was hearing. They are good at their job, because I started considering, "Well, you know what? Hey, I could do all that." So, believe it or not, the next week, I was on my way to Raleigh to MEPS to get my physical exam to see if I was suited for the military. And I was asking myself on the way back from MEPS, how in the world did this happen? How did I end up in a week's time already? When they grab you and say cough, already, how did that happen? But I don't regret it. Because all my friends that I was growing up with, they was going to the military too, and it was either going to the Army or the Marines. And I said, hey, I'm not joining no Army Marine. For one, I was a chubby kid, and I was not about all that running, which the Army Marine does, or sleeping in the woods like the Army Marine does. So I thought I'd join the military, which joined the Navy. And in boot camp, all the folks I was talking to, they was talking about ships. And with that, me trying to be different than everybody else, I started looking at submarines, and one thing led to another. Instead of going to sign up for things on the surface, I was looking at things to join the submarine force, which I'm glad I've done.
What was your experience like on the submarines, and how did it influence you?
As a submariner, we accepted the fact that one, there's no calling nobody to come help us. Two, we voluntarily sign up to go in a tube and then take that tube under pressure of the ocean and be out there in that ocean for weeks, for weekends, weeks, months, up to, I don't know, 3, 4, 6 months without seeing anybody but each other, and perhaps not even seeing the sun for at least 2, 3 months. And we all depend on each other to one day come back to our loved ones.
How did the submarine service shape your perspective on leadership, responsibility, and the importance of preparedness?
This goes back to, there's no 911 for us. There's no calling the fire department. There's no calling the police. There's no ordering out. There's no going to a hardware store. There's none of that. We have to be self-sufficient. We have to depend on each other. In order to depend on each other, there have to be leadership. And you have to define qualities of leadership, of making sure that you understand what the objective is. The number one objective is national security. That's the whole purpose of a submarine force, is national security. And that just breaks down either layers and layers. In order for us to sustain national security, we must be able to operate a submarine in non and also in wartime fashion. That means we have to drill, I can't say it enough. We drill all the time to make sure that whatever we do becomes second nature. We don't have time to think about what we have to do. We have to be able to hear certain cues and know exactly what we do. In order to do that, you have to have a leader to make sure that everybody's understanding that your job is to protect everybody else on that submarine. That leader has to be somebody that they can look at and understand that, hey, I trust him enough to guide me, or I trust her enough to guide me to do the right thing, because any slip up can be the detriment to not only you, the individual, but every guy and girl on the submarine who depends on you to do the job right. And that reflection of leadership that goes all the way up to, like I said, the old man who delegates, uh, down to top to bottom to make sure that everything we do flows.
Let's talk about the skills. What skills from your submarine service have you found useful in acting? And can you share an example of when you use it on set?
One thing I learned that fear is not an option. You can't be scared to provide what is asked of you. Like, for instance, to get these dolphins, they don't give them to you. You got to prove that you're worthy enough to wear them. So that means you have to know your submarine from bow to stern. That means from front to back. Even though it's not your system, you got to know, at least know something about somebody else's division to be able to prove to the committee that, hey, you understand this boat. And that's exactly how it is in acting. You have to be able to get on a stage or in front of the camera and make sure that the producer, the director, has got his right individual for this part, because what you do will impact your future. Because if you are doing a stage show, a stage play, there are people in the audience who are paying anywhere from $10 to $150, $250 to see a show and to give them entertainment.
Now that we have experienced your military connection, let's focus on your acting a little bit more. With your experience across different medias, which two stand out as the most enjoyable and what contribute to that enjoyment?
Film and stage. Uh, I like film because it gives you opportunity to be seen by mm, thousands of people across the world. Because once you become on a film, that film is shopped to other places that, all over the country. Like, for instance, I did a movie here in Virginia, and I have comments all the way from Africa and Italy and England, how they like my characters. So that gives you a broader scope of people viewing your craft. That I like that a lot, and because that opened more doors. And in stage, I like stage because you get the immediate gratification from your audience, because on stage, once you finish the play, you have opportunity to meet the audience, and they'll come if they like you. They will come up and shake your hand or want to take pictures with you or tell you that, hey, I enjoyed your character. I can really feel you. I felt what you was doing. I like that.
From your experience, how valuable have you found networking and relationship building to be in your pursuit of acting roles? That has to be very important, I know.
Networking and relationship is the most phenomenal part of this venture, because you really don't know who you're talking to when you're talking to people. I mean, you might be in a project where both of you are probably just human props standing in the background, but you don't know who the individual is or who the individual knows or what's their background. So it behooves you to make as many connections as you can, because that can be bridges to other projects that you might be never thought you would get to, but because you made a friend, they put your name out there and you can be called. Because for the past, I say 10 years, I have rarely had to audition for anything because of the relationships and the networking that I have made with other projects. People who have taken my name and gave it to producers and directors and say, hey, if you're looking for somebody to play this role, I know this guy named Rick. He'll be great in that. And then the producer or director will give me a call in a script and say, "Hey, I have this project. Somebody mention your name. Hey, if you take a look at this project, see if you're interested." And that's why I say make as many networking and bridges as possible because that is phenomenal. It, I ain't bragging, but I think I could if I wanted to. But I have not really had to audition for nothing really, not lately, is I've gotten a call and say, "Hey, I got this project." And that's only because people had thought enough of me to say, "Hey, uh, here's, give Ricky a call." You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Let's talk about memorizing lines, okay?
Yes.
A lot of people think memorizing lines is easy. What is your experience with the process and what techniques do you use?
Yes, they do think that memorizing is easy, but I tell people 90% of communication is body language. Words are just words, but if your body ain't speaking to, you're not selling it. 90% of communication is body language. I can say the same thing 10 times. And it all depends on how my body is responding when I'm saying anything. 10 different people can get 10 different messages.
Right.
And that's why it helps to understand what the producer and director is looking for because he may give you a script and you may memorize it, but you might come off as a robot. And a robot is so monotonically, you ain't selling nothing. You ain't persuading nothing. And people don't realize that movies, TVs, and other things get paid from businesses and commercial to sell a product. And you don't need to be a robot speaking in a monotonic way to try to get people to pay attention to you because people realize that this industry is about selling. It's about turning people's heads. So you have to be able to take strips and lines and see what the producer wants. Don't think that you are the director, you the producer. You need to be able to give the producer what it just like I said with the submarine. When I had a committee to become a get my dolphins, I had to prove that I can give the committee what they're looking for. This is the
Right.
same thing with acting. You got to be able to give the director and the producer the character that he wants. And you're doing it via these lines. If you cannot sell that character with these lines, then he'll probably ask somebody else to sell them. So and my technique is I use my phone initially just record the audio to see what I sound like because I need to hear what they're gonna be hearing. And I use my phone to do a video and say my words so I can see if I can sell that character to myself. If I'm not convincing myself, I definitely ain't gonna convince the director and producer. So I use my phone so I can look at me like I'm looking at a stranger. And
Right.
then once I feel comfortable with the character, then I see if this is what the producer want, and he will or she will tell me how they would like for me to inflect or deflect or accentuate or move or whatever to make this character more defined and sellable. Now they said 90% of communication is body language. It's what you do when you say what you say that sells something.
What is the one thing you wish people knew about the craft or misconception you would like to clear up for everyone to know?
Well, I think a lot of people think that the people they see in front of the camera or on stage, that is all glamorous. Acting is not a glamorous career. It is not. It is work. It is hard work. It is long hours. I mean, people think that the folks you see on TV is like that, and they get because I guess Hollywood had made us believe that people go and act, and then they go into their lovers' lifestyle. Glamorous, like no, there are times, like for instance, I had to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, drive 5 hours to meet a call time at 8. And then at 8, you still sitting there for another 2 hours before you even do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And then whenever you do a scene, you got to do that scene 50 million times because you got to do the same scene over and over and over again with the camera in different angles so it can look flawless. And that could take up to 18 hours doing the same. You got to keep the same persona doing it 50 million times. And the whole completed shot can be probably 5 minutes.
Okay.
That means, put in 24 hours plus to film an arduous scene that make everybody look like it's effortless, and you end up tired, but you got to keep it up, and you got to love it to be able to do it because it ain't a glamorous job. It may look it, and it's work. That's why I see why people get paid so much because it's a lot of work.
As an actor, how do you manage to create a believable character while also dealing with the emotional weight of certain scenes?
I know you have to have empathy and sympathy for others to relate to the scenario they going through. So sometimes it behooves you to be that character. I mean, if it calls for somebody to cry, you got to be able to cry. If it calls for somebody to be nasty, you got to be able to be, you just got to put yourself in that position to sell that role. And sometimes it is very emotionally taxing.
But Rick, I must say, it's been great. But in closing, Rick, if you could give me one piece of advice to someone dreaming of becoming an actor, what would it be?
If you really want to be an actor, make sure, because as I mentioned, this is not a glamorous profession. It's not, I know Hollywood makes it feel like the movie star get in front of the camera, and then after the camera, they go and do their lavish life. Hollywood, it is not that. And if you're going to be an actor, you expect to get a lot of disappointment before you really find your niche. And always be mindful of who you talk to because we mentioned networking is a phenomenal tool. It can open up doors that you didn't know was available to you. Some people get out there and they think, I'm pretty, I'm handsome, I got all I need. No, 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 it ain't that easy. No, you got to be able. No, after a while, people get tired looking at you. If you ain't giving them
You're
something to
right.
stimulate, yeah, and if you don't give them something to, stimulate provoke their thought, you ain't no work, no good to them. You know.
Right. It's like, that's all you got?
Yeah, that's
No,
all.
you have to give me more. You have to give me more than that.
Okay.
How much more?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You look good, but hey, I'm okay. I'm done looking at you. Give me something else,
That's right.
and that's all you know.
Next,
And you
next.
put yourself, and plus people put themselves in that one category. Look at me.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this. Okay.
Right. And
And yeah.
like I said, next person. Your next person. Well, Rick, are you working on any projects, any new projects, and how can viewers follow you?
Yes. Back in July, I did a play called "Bullying the New B Word." It's a play about uh school bullies, and we did it at the Kennedy Center, and unfortunately there were some mayors from Maryland that was at the play, and they thought that the play was fascinating, and so now there are talks of the project to be done in some of the Maryland County school districts because it pertains to school bullying. So I guess the mayor figured this is something that some kids, high school students, should look and take a look because there was a tragic end in this play, and I guess this is a medium to mitigate some risk of kids doing similar paths of just storyline. So people in Maryland might be seeing me in the play in a couple of these counties like Prince George,
Oh,
Montgomery, Howard, and a couple more counties. So stand by. Also, another movie that I'm doing is also related to school. It's called The Vic Jones Story. This is an opportunity for me to get my Robert Guillaume on. Yeah, those who remember Lean on Me. Uh,
Yes.
yeah, Robert Guillaume played the superintendent, working at the school with Joe. I forgot his last name. It was in Lean on Me.
I
I am
remember.
playing the superintendent, and me and the star of the show get along but don't get along. The basis of the story is
Okay.
he is he was from Tennessee and he was chased out of well, he wasn't chased. He left Tennessee due to some issues he had with the Klan, and he felt that he needed. This is based off of a true story. There was an issue back that happened, and he has a run-in with the Klan, so he left Tennessee, went to Pennsylvania, and he ended up becoming a teacher at Pennsylvania in the 70s, 60s, and 70s, and he was doing his part to try to get students to be more self-aware and more disciplined in their pursuit of going into adulthood. And he was using religion to do this. And being that I played the superintendent, it was my job to make sure that all the teachers followed the policies of the school district.
Is that coming out I'm sorry, is that coming out this summer?
Yeah, we are trying to finish filming in I think June, and I
June,
think
uh-huh.
yeah, and I think right now it might be going to Netflix, and it might be in Netflix about October. So
Really?
yeah. So
Oh.
people can see me on Netflix where I play in a movie based off of real life of the superintendent of the Harrisburg
Uh,
High School in Pennsylvania, and I'll get to I'd be the protagonist or antagonist to the star
mhm.
in some part. So,
Oh, very
yeah.
good.
And I'm
Oh, well,
also, for
thank
anybody out
you.
there, I'm also looking for other parts to play just in case you're looking for somebody.
Okay, Rick
Yes.
K. Branch, everyone. Thank you so much, Rick. Thank you so much for sharing your story, for keeping it real with us today. We really appreciate you sharing your journey. Okay, thank you so, so much.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate the support.
For our viewers at home watching, if you like what you see, subscribe to the Jocelyn Moore Show. Want to be a guest on our show? Head over to our website, www.jmentertainment.info. On the homepage, click on About and follow directions to be a guest. If you have any questions about today's show or past or future shows, just click Contact on our website and submit a message. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, take care and keep watching.